Hey everyone, it's Alex the Real Mr. Robinson again. It's time for a brand new trailer reaction. The official trailer, second trailer for Venom just came out, and I have been actively against this movie ever since they announced it. A Venom movie without Spider-Man? That can't work. It's not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What is Sony doing? What is going on in their offices full of executives that make all these decisions? Sony has been screwing up Spider-Man for 11 years. With Spider-Man 3, they were responsible for Venom being shoehorned into the movie, even though Sam Raimi had no intention of using Venom at all. And then they rebooted Spider-Man with the Amazing Spider-Man series, which was nothing full of executive decisions. And that ultimately led to the Amazing Spider-Man series ending with Spider-Man 2, and then them making a deal with Marvel to have Spider-Man be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And since then, ever since Marvel's been making the movies, Spider-Man has been on a hot streak, and everyone was like, okay, this is good. Sony gets a check for basically letting Marvel do all the work. That's the model with Spider-Man Homecoming, and I think it worked well because we got the best Spider-Man movie in my opinion. Sorry everyone, I just don't like Spider-Man 2 as much as Homecoming. But this baffles me why they want to try to go ahead and make their own movies based on Spider-Man characters without Spider-Man, and especially starting out with Venom, because he is a character that only works and whose origin is solely based on Spider-Man existing. So this just baffles me for many, many reasons, and back at Comic-Con it was officially announced that this is not part of the MCU, so I don't know what the logic is behind this. I haven't seen this trailer yet, but let's just jump right into it. This is the second trailer, maybe the final trailer, for Venom.
I'm Eddie Brock. I'm a reporter. I always seem to find myself questioning something the government may not be looking at.
I hate that voice.
I found something.
I found something. See, it sounds like Christopher Walken.
And I have been... Eddie. Who said that? Taken.
Look around at the world. What do you see? A planet on the brink of collapse. Human beings are disposable. But man and symbiote combined.
Okay, somebody said symbiote, right?
Species. A higher life form.
What do you want from me?
You'll find out.
I'm so sorry. We cannot just hurt people.
Look into my eyes, Eddie. The way I see it. We can do whatever we want. Do we have a deal? Eyes, lungs, pancreas.
Ooh, that...
So little time.
That is not some good CG.
That power, it's not completely awful.
You have no idea how much you're scaring me right now.
There's no Spider-Man.
Cooperate. And you just might survive.
Guys, you do not want to do this, trust me.
What I was gonna say is there's no spider on his chest.
Giant leaps will always come at a cost.
Okay, was that supposed to be Carnage at the end?
We will eat both your arms and then both of your legs, and then we will eat your face right off your head. You will be this armless, legless, faceless thing, won't you? Rolling down the street like a turd in the wind.
What the hell are you?
We are Venom.
Oh, I have a parasite. Yeah. Name is Chen.
If that was supposed to be played for a joke, then they failed. Yeah, I I got nothing. I literally have nothing for this trailer. It just looks like the same generic shit that we've seen in the past. I am grateful, though, that somebody said symbiote right, because in the last trailer that came out, Jenny Slate kept saying symbiote, and that was just pure signs that, yeah, you guys don't know what you're doing, but somebody said symbiote right. In terms of the CGI, though, it looks awful. Spider-Man 3 CGI actually looked a lot better than this, and that was not good CGI altogether. This looks like a 2000s version of the CGI used in Spawn whenever he's going into the suit. It just looks terrible, and I love Tom Hardy, first of all. I think he's a tremendous actor. I don't like him as Eddie Brock. I don't buy him as Eddie Brock. And the problem is, he is not the Eddie Brock that we're all familiar with. Now, I know I'm probably going down this route of, in the comics they do this, in the movie they do this, but if you're not going to stay faithful to the character that you're representing, why bother? Because in the comics and other interpretations of Eddie Brock, especially in Spider-Man 3, he was an asshole. He was Weasley, he was slimy, and he was a buff guy. Granted, Tom Hardy does look a little buffer than Topher Grace in Spider-Man 3, but Tom Hardy's still pretty small. I mean, the scene where we first see Venom out in the open and he's licking that dude's face, it's like the Venom costume just consumes all of Tom Hardy. Just tiny little Tom Hardy. And it just looks silly. On top of all that as well, they don't really understand how the symbiote works. Because they're playing this out like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing, or a split situation, which that is not Venom at all. Venom attaches himself to a host and usually just feeds off the host and helps make them stronger and further their drive. And in Eddie Brock's case, well, not in this movie, his drive is to get rid of Spider-Man. And the symbiote earlier on was rejected by Spider-Man, so these two pretty much combined forces in order to take out Spider-Man because they both had a grudge against him. Here, what's going to be the motive for this happening? There's no Spider-Man, there's no S on Venom's chest, so at that point you just have a monster with a split personality running around, and it's like, oh, we've seen this before. This is not interesting at all. Venom is only interesting because of how he interacts with Spider-Man. Like I said before, Venom's origin is dependent on Spider-Man. Also, this trailer had the one thing that I was absolutely dreading when watching it. Spoiling too much. Sony has this horrible habit of just releasing trailers that show way too much to the point of spoiling, because near the end of the trailer, right before the title comes up, I think we saw another symbiote. I think they tried to do Carnage. Granted, he's not red, so maybe that won't be Carnage. This just has all the telltale signs that Sony has no idea what they're doing. I have absolutely no faith in this movie. Out of all the movies that are coming out this year, more than Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, this is the one that I have the least amount of hope for, because Sony has had a history of screwing Spider-Man up, and I feel like this is going to be no different, especially since, when you think about it, Sony didn't have to do anything. Marvel's out there making all the money with the Spider-Man movies in the MCU, with Homecoming and soon Far Away Home, so Sony just has to do nothing. They just have to sit back, relax, and if this bombs, then not only is that going to be a bad sign and a horrible stamp on Sony, but it also might hurt Marvel's Spider-Man movies for everyone who doesn't know all the studio details and who owns what. Although at this point, because of the recent Fox deal, Sony's all by themselves. Because Disney has everyone now. They have the X-Men, they have the Fantastic Four, they have Spider-Man, they have the Avengers, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Hulk, Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, Black Panther. They got everyone. Sony is on their own. So if this bombs, then I think that's the nail in the coffin. And these characters might eventually come home to where Marvel has everyone back home now. A lot of people are actually looking forward to this movie, big time, and mainly because they want to see Venom done right. So if this movie actually comes out, it ends up being better than Spider-Man 3, it ends up being a better interpretation of Venom than in Spider-Man 3, then I will be the first to get on this chair, look at you dead in the eyes, and say, yeah, this was a good movie, this was better than Spider-Man 3. But if this movie ends up sucking, then I'm going to be like Jeff Winger in Community. I hate to say I told you so I'll shout it through cupped hands. I told you so! So, it comes out October, early October. We'll see what happens. And there you go. That's my reaction and review for the second official trailer for Venom. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. Did you see the trailer? What do you think? Are you excited for this movie? Do you think it's going to bomb? Do you think it's going to be awesome? Let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed this review. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and of course leave a comment. Go and support my Patreon page, follow me on social media. And until next time, this is the Real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.